Straight ahead on 12 News Weekend, a tiny strip of land that's causing big concerns in Plymouth. Then, understanding autism.
I've been there. I get it. I've lived it.
Meet a Twin Cities mom who's helping other parents in her shoes. But first, after months of negotiating, a breakthrough.
Definitely a win-win for students because no one wants to be out of school for a teacher strike.
12 News Weekend starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on 12 News Weekend. I'm Shannon Slatton. Teachers in the Anoka Hennepin School District will vote later this month on a tentative deal that could prevent a possible strike. Talks first began last May. As Sonia Goins reports, an agreement was reached after a 7-hour marathon bargaining session this week.
We hammered out the final parts of an agreement.
The Anoka Hennepin Teachers Union and the school district have been in a contract stalemate for nearly a year.
After years of freezes, this contract does help us turn a corner.
Now both sides say they are breathing a sigh of relief.
Well, we're very pleased that we reached a tentative agreement and we do not have to worry about a teacher strike.
I think we're seeing a lot of relief.
The two sticking points were teachers' pay and health insurance benefits. The school district compromised on salary.
In the first year of the contract, every teacher gets a $1,000 stipend, and our most experienced teachers get an additional 1.5%. In the second year, our newer teachers get 1.5%, and senior teachers get 2%.
Before we go on,
The district also wanted to add another level to teachers' pay schedules.
We ended up compromising by dropping our proposal for the additional step.
And the teachers union agreed to allow a cap on health insurance.
The board was very firm about the cap on insurance.
We were able to get some assurances on health insurance that will help us make a new plan work for our members.
The tentative deal also includes a lot of other things, including benefits for new parents.
We extended parental leave to our mothers as well as fathers. We were able to find a solution to a substitute shortage that we have.
Both sides say overall, it's the students who will benefit from the tentative agreement.
Definitely a win-win for students because no one wants to be out of school for a teacher strike.
There's definitely a lot of relief that we're able to wrap this up and get back to focusing on what we care about most, and that's educating our students.
Members of the teachers union will meet in a few weeks and they will vote on whether to approve the tentative deal. If it gets a thumbs up, it will then go on to the school board for final ratification. At the district office, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Thank you, Sonia. After the snow melts, MnDOT will begin work on the second biggest road construction year in state history. That work will include finishing the last leg of Highway 610 in Maple Grove. Work will begin this fall and extend 610 all the way to Interstate 94. Another big Northwest Metro project is widening Interstate 94 between Rogers and St. Michael. MnDOT will begin work in July on adding another lane in each direction. A tiny section of land in Plymouth is raising big questions over water rights and city zoning rules. Dan Gustafson owns this 5-foot-wide sliver of land wedged between two homes on Medicine Lake. He bought the land 2 years ago for $28,000 so he could dock his boat there. 2 years later, Gustafson still can't build a dock because city zoning rules won't allow it. He believes the city is depriving his rights as a lake owner.
You know, common law here in the United States and in Minnesota indicates that if you own shore, you can put out a dock.
It always is a challenge because you're looking at somebody's issue that they're presenting, but changes like this affect the whole city. So we have to be cognizant of what impact it'll have on all property owners.
The City Planning Commission recommends docks be set back at least 6 feet from side lot lines so they're not too close to neighboring properties. Under that recommendation, Gustafson couldn't build a dock. The City Council is expected to address the issue on April 8th. In our weekend review, Maple Grove police are alerting residents about a level 3 sex offender moving into their neighborhood. Police held a community notification meeting on Paul Knutson. He has a history of criminal sexual contact with women. According to police, he has moved into the 8900 block of Weston Lane North. They also say Knutson has not committed any sexual crimes since being released in 2007. 12 News spoke with the family he's staying with, and they did not want to be identified, but they say he was homeless and living in a van then, and now they've decided to help him out. The city of Golden Valley has approved a significant expansion plan by the Porsche dealership along Interstate 394. Porsche would more than double the size of its existing facility. The dealership's general manager says they also plan to add about 10 more employees to their current staff of 18. Golden Valley City officials say other car dealerships along 394 are also looking at expanding or making improvements. And North Memorial Medical Center has become the first hospital in the state to accept donated breast milk for newborn babies. All donors will be screened and their milk tested and pasteurized. The donor milk is not meant to replace a mother's own milk, but will provide a bridge until babies can breastfeed from their own moms. April is Autism Awareness Month, and there's new reason to be more aware. The Centers for Disease Control now says 1 in 68 children is or will be diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. That's up 29% since 2012. A local store owner cringes when she sees those statistics. As Cassie Bonstrom reports, she's committed to helping families until a cure is found.
A lot of our kids have just an incredible visual ability. They see things differently, and they are often very calmed and fascinated by things that create patterns and that allow movement.
Sherry Saltzman is more than just a store owner. She's also a mom on a mission.
I knew what it was like. I knew what parents were going through. I knew what was needed. I knew what educators were looking for.
After raising a child with autism, she and her husband opened the Autism Shop. They offer toys, tools, and resources to help other struggling families.
So many of the kids will chew on their clothing or their fingers or their wrist or anything that they can find. These are more socially acceptable ones, and this entire department is all filled with fidgets. This is one of my favorites.
The items for sale cater to many common behaviors of kids with autism.
This came out last fall. It is just the most incredible substance. It's not messy, it never dries out.
One of the shop's biggest sellers are the weighted blankets. This happens to be the biggest one. It weighs about 12 to 14 pounds. It's filled with tiny little stones.
To help them feel more secure. And the same with sleeping through the night or calming down after they've had a bit of a meltdown.
Saltzman says her shop is one of only 2 walk-in stores in the entire country. Though she still does a majority of her sales online, her goal is to offer local parents a safe physical space where they can come in and ask questions free of judgment.
I've been there. I get it. I've lived it.
When she first opened the shop, Sherry assumed a cure for autism was not far behind.
Hasn't happened.
And with rates continuing to rise, she says she and her store will be here for as long as they're needed.
We really want to hold out, that hand to help others to improve their lives and their children's lives.
In Minnetonka, I'm Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
The Autism Shop is open Tuesday through Saturday. To learn more about the shop and what they offer, we have a link on our website, 12.tv. Coming up on 12 News Weekend, a group of moms on a special military mission. And then later in sports, a new coach will lead Champlin Park's talented baseball team this spring. But first, the melt is on and spring fever returns. On Monday, we could reach 60 degrees. Welcome back, everybody. Easter is 2 weeks away, and for soldiers serving overseas, that holiday can often be an afterthought. But as Alexandra Renslow reports, a special group of moms is all about offering support.
We'll send this one to Afghanistan.
These military moms are on deadline. Packing up an Easter meal shipped to soldiers is their top priority.
We need about 2 weeks to get them there in time, and we're sending both to Afghanistan and to Japan.
Lucy Cutt's son is stationed in Japan.
He gets home in July. So, yes, we're very excited. We'll be glad to have him back.
She has a little company here and something in common with this Blue Star Mothers group.
My son has done 5 deployments, and your son has done?
He's done 2.
2, and we're kind of like the moms that have been around the block.
That means something, to know what it feels like to wait for a loved one, yet not even know where they are.
One is someplace on a ship. I don't know where.
Cheryl Hines of Robbinsdale has 12 deployments between her 2 Marines.
I get things on a need-to-know basis, and apparently I don't need to know.
She can laugh because she has the support of this group of moms who know what it's like.
You're wasting tape.
And together, they support each other while supporting the troops.
That's the biggest thing, is they realize they're not forgotten.
Alexandra Renslow with that story. The Blue Star Mothers Group sends out packages to soldiers year-round, but of course their biggest push is at Christmas and again at Easter. Coming up, one of the sweetest traditions to ever take root in Plymouth. But first, Armstrong's girls lacrosse team is hoping to make a return visit to the state tournament this spring. That's coming up in sports with Jay Wilcox. We've been talking about winter weather this week, but in sports, we're talking about spring.
The spring can't get here fast enough for all
right.
these teams. They've been tired of being inside as much as they have been, and they're getting ready to get out on the field, and definitely something that is a sure sign of spring for us, too, in the sports department. Coming off a 15-win season and a second-place finish in the Northwest Suburban Conference, there's a lot of optimism around the Champlin Park baseball team this spring. John Jacobson has more.
When your field is actually a field house, there's only so much real baseball you can simulate. But stuck indoors like everyone else, the Champlin Park baseball team does see progress in the first 2+ weeks of practice.
There's good things being inside. You get to work on fundamental stuff a little bit more, and that's what we've been doing. So there's some good things and some bad things, but we're getting stuff done, so it's working well.
Best assessment is, that work ethic on the inside. You can't really see a whole lot. You can't see the fly balls or anything like that. But from what we've seen in the cages and what we've seen from a hustle standpoint, we're really pleased about what we've got to work with, no question about it.
Champlin Park grad and former sophomore baseball coach Corey Davis takes over as Rebels head coach. He's worked with all of the team's upperclassmen, and that helps.
Most of these guys have had Coach Davis and Loberg for our sophomore seasons, and we also had the same coaches for Legion last year. So we're familiar with them, and it's definitely going good so far.
The Rebels return a half dozen regulars from a year ago and have solid pitching at the top of the rotation, with seniors Brandon Rushmeyer and Trevor Kaminsky as two of the better pitchers in the conference. This team has high expectations, and their past success helps.
It helps a lot, We get into the big game situations, and we're able to be comfortable in those situations, and we're able to pass it on to the guys who maybe haven't been in those situations or seem to be nervous in those situations. So we're able to help out a lot.
Our expectations are to win. We're going to do our best to do what we can to win and do whatever we can.
For now, the Rebels will do their best to sharpen their skills in here, knowing eventually the season will start.
The kids are growing antsy as well as the coaches, but at least we know one thing's certain: the sun is gonna shine, and we're gonna get a chance to play baseball here real soon.
The Rebels' schedule shows 2 games for the coming week, but a more likely opening day for the team might be Monday, April 14th at Elk River. Well, the Armstrong girls lacrosse team won the consolation championship at state last year and lost only 2 starters to graduation. Here's Jason Malillo with the season preview.
There's no lack of experience for the Falcons this spring, with almost their entire state tournament team returning.
Our second string was just as strong as our first, so I'm not scared at all for having to fill those spots.
We didn't lose too many people last year, so I think it's going to even be better than last year, because it was almost like we can build off of that, so we're just going to come out even better than last year, I think.
And there shouldn't be any lack of firepower either. Armstrong brings back its top 2 scorers, but this team has offense up and down the roster.
That's kind of our style of play, is that by spreading the scoring around, we're very difficult to defend. And then if we give the ball to one of our studs and they, man marker or double teamer, she can usually pass it off, because it's very important that we play without the ball, be in the right position to support the ball carrier. And once somebody else has the ball, the defense is usually out of position, and we can score very quickly, and a lot.
The Falcons made their first state tournament last year, losing in the first round to eventual champion Blake. The Bears were the only team that beat Armstrong in 2013.
We just need to stay up to their pace. It just seems like they're a little bit quicker and just know the field a little bit better. So I think just staying up to their level will help us a lot.
Armstrong has been a strong program for several years now, but the Falcons are still one notch below the elite teams. Coach Bill Moyer is confident his girls are ready to take that next step and could do it in 2014. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
Armstrong opens its season with back-to-back games facing district rival Cooper April 14th and defending state champion Blake the next night. And that is definitely a team that should have a good season this spring.
All right, it'll be good to watch.
That's right.
Thanks, Jay. Up next, the solution to spruce up any meal.
I like it pretty good, yeah.
Meet the Plymouth man who doesn't bother with sugar. He goes for something even sweeter. That's coming up next. And finally, a spring syruping tradition is underway in the big woods of Plymouth. For 86-year-old Roger Schmidt, it's a product you'll find on his table year-round. Here's Mike Johnson.
Tapping a tree the right way is a skill that's passed from generation to generation.
There, look at it come. That's what you want to see.
I've been tapping it since I was, 15. But I was in this woods from the day I was born, you might say.
That dripping sound in Roger Schmidt's big woods is the sweet sound of sap just starting to make another run.
Well, it depends how long you gather, but last year we made 53 gallons of syrup.
Almost all of it is consumed by Schmidt's family and friends who help gather hundreds of gallons of sap every spring.
Well, it's a whole family thing. It really is. I get nieces and nephews that come and grandkids.
It's too soon to say whether this is a good year.
This is actually the first time we've been out collecting, so we can't even tell yet.
But once it starts running, it's a matter of keeping up with the trees. A snowmobile replaced the horses that were first used to drag the large containers of sap off to the Schmidt sugar camp. But the log fire is the same, and the cooking process still requires 35 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup.
All you have to do is boil and boil and boil.
So why do this? It helps if you really like the taste of maple syrup.
Oh, I like it pretty good, yeah.
Roger claims he doesn't use it on everything, but you will find it on eggs, in ice cream, even in his recipe for coleslaw.
Last night I had roast beef and squash.
Okay. Just about any time you can replace sugar with maple syrup, it works for Roger.
Oh, man, on squash. Buttercup squash, you put maple syrup on that, and it's a heavenly treat.
And Roger says don't even bother making comparisons with that product from Vermont. He says the flavor is deeper in Minnesota because of the heavier soil. And he ought to know, Jay. He's been doing it for quite a while.
He qualifies as an expert, I would guess, after all that time.
I think so, but you can tell the family really gets a lot out of everybody going out to the sugar camp, going out and gathering the buckets and bringing them back in.
There's something about getting it from a tree in your own yard as compared to buying it.
That's right, even sweeter. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Have a nice weekend. We'll see you again Monday at 4.